Hello, everyone. Hello, William Charles. Hello, Joe Burnett. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining me on the stream. Already, a bunch of people. This showing up, showing up when I actually say I'm going to show up. Wow, it works wonders. 10:30, and I'm online, and craziness. Um, Nothing special about the shirt. It was just clean. This is a company that I attended a. Is there anything on the back? Just a little bit. I attended a hackathon, AI hackathon. I don't know how long it was. It must have been April, May, June, somewhere on there. Maybe it was even last year. I don't know. I attended I this hackathon. I didn't really get much out of it. Oh, I think it was last year because I think I was still at Ollama at the time. Um, and I got a cool T-shirt. I got a T-shirt, so it extends my, I think I should have done laundry yesterday, but my wife and I we tend to do our own laundry. I don't know why. It just seems to happen that way. I guess if I wait long enough, or she waits long enough, one of us. She knows she needs to be in control of her laundry because I put things that are delicate into the regular laundry, and she hates that. So, because I can't read labels. Okay, so for those of you who are new here that have never been here to one of these streams, my name is Matt Williams. I do a daily-ish stream around 10:30. Hopefully, sometimes it's later, but usually I try to go for 10:30. And we talk about AI topics, usually local AI topics. The reason for that is that I was part of the Ollama team from the beginning. I left in January, but I'm still very passionate about Ollama, and you'll see that on my channel with lots of videos about using Ollama. In fact, I've got a free course about Ollama, going through all the basics as well as some advanced topics soon about using Ollama. And that comes out every Tuesday. So I gotta get to work on my video for today. At some point, for a while, I had like a bank of videos that I could just release. And then I don't know, I got lazy and didn't keep building them. Anyway. Yeah, so that's a little bit about me and why we're here. So we're here to talk about some news that I found was interesting. Let's see. Any other comments? Oh, William Charles, crazy, I know. Yeah, crazy being here on time. People be able to keep to a schedule. It's all good. It's good stuff. Howdy from Louis Yax. Cool. Well, welcome. Thanks for being here. Let's take a look at some things. I found, I was very excited yesterday. Oh my God, it was so cool. It didn't work flawlessly, but it worked. I had to like kind of coerce it to start. I think I got that fixed. But when the stream ended, I know what I did wrong. Yeah. Okay, so when the stream ended last night, how does it get triggered? Oh yeah, there's a trigger on my. I can't get my Stream Deck up high enough to. No, I have a Stream Deck, right here, and when I click the end button, it ends the stream on Ecamm, and then I don't know, 2 minutes later, it sends a message to a webhook on N8N, and then that downloads and does a bunch of stuff and generates chapter markers. So once it got actually started, it seems that there's actually a little bit of time required after ending a stream until it's available in the API, in the YouTube API. and I wasn't waiting long enough. I don't know if I adjusted it long enough now, so I might have to fiddle with it again. But after a certain amount of time, it becomes available in the API, and then the rest. I download the video and convert to a WAV file and generate the table contents, and it gets pushed up to the YouTube the video, the recorded video. And I saw that within about 10 minutes of doing my stream yesterday, I had the table contents. It's not perfect. It's probably more of a good first draft. I had to go in, I deleted a few things and fixed the spelling of a few things, but at least it was, apart from having to like coerce it to start, which again, I think I can fix so it won't have to do that again. But it was, a minute of like scanning through the items and verifying that they're kind of spelled correctly. So about 30 seconds to a minute of work building out the table content or the chapter markers, versus before, if it was an hour-long stream, it would take an hour to go through and listen and pause and type that thing and continue. And there's definitely services that will do that. In fact, for a while, I was just using Claude, I think, to generate the chapter markers. What I ended up doing, so I did Claude at first, just to kind of proof of concept. Claude Sonnet, is it? So that worked. And every time I tried doing it with Llama 3.1, I kept, these are big transcripts. They're it's an hour long of me yakking on for a while. And so there's just a lot of content in that SRT file. So an SRT file, there's a number that indicates, it's split up into like chunks of words within any time period that I speak. And usually that time period is like 2 seconds, 3 seconds. So what do I say in 3 seconds? And so there's this series of these sections or chunks, or I don't know what they call them. And then they're numbered. So there's the first one, the second one, the third one, the fourth one, all the way down to like 1,000 in an hour. So there's that. And then below that, there's a pair of time codes for the video. So start and then dash, 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 and an angle bracket, and then the end time code. And then what did I say? And then it repeats that over and over again. So I was able to shorten that, make it a little bit less content for it to deal with by just getting rid of that, number block and the extra lines between, and just so it makes it, I basically had a start time code, because the end time code is the start of the next one. So start time code and the words I say, kind of like the chapter markers as they are, and remove the milliseconds from there. So it's basically the same format. But then, but it's still a lot of content for the model to process. And what's interesting, it doesn't really need to know. All it needs to know is like, if it only sees a portion of the text that I say, it doesn't make the chapter markers any less correct. So I was able to split it up into smaller pieces. And even though I was able to increase the context size. Now I couldn't do it with 70B because I just don't have enough memory to have 70B and a large context size. So with 8B, Llama 3.1, 8B with a large-ish context size, I think I'm using Llama. I played around with Mistral, Nemo, and a few others, but I think I've ended up with, So I've split it up into chunks of basically 500 lines. So I think that's about half hour of content. And say, generate the chapter markers for this one, generate the chapter markers for that one, generate the chapter markers for that one, concatenate them all together, and we've got our chapter markers. I think I still need to tweak it a bit. Sometimes chapter markers are a little bit too, there's too many of them. But at least it kind of lets you speed forward a ways. So it seems pretty good. Sometimes the chapter marker happens just after I actually said the thing. So we need to kind of tweak that as well. But it's been fun to play around with the prompt for that. And at some point I'll share that model file. Oops, see, that's not what I wanted to do. That's weird. I thought that would be locked down. All right, let's take a look at some news. I don't know. Is that interesting? Is that interesting for me to talk about? So I saw that Workday introduced a next generation of AI with Illuminate. Now, I don't know about you. I don't know how many of you have ever had to deal with Workday. So Workday is typically at large companies, like the HR team or people team or whoever takes care of payroll. Well, I guess finance takes care of payroll, but the benefits and all those types of things might be a people team or HR team. And they use different systems to ensure that employees have access to find out, what's my W-2 look like? What's my paycheck look like? Pay stub look like? What's the or what are the benefits for different things? And to get access to all that stuff. And at Ollama, I don't know what we were using. I think Rippling for a while and Deal, because as a small company, you kind of outsource your HR to somebody else. And at Datadog, we were using Workday towards the end of my time there. I think they're probably still using Workday. And before that, who else did we use? We used all sorts of companies. In fact, we used something like Deal, where they are your outsourced HR team. At the early days of my time at Datadog, because there was no HR team, there was no people team, there was none of that stuff. I was hired at Datadog by an investor in Datadog called it wasn't Index, it was OpenView Partners, I think it was called OpenView Ventures. But anyway, so there's these bits of software that run, and Workday is probably one of the biggest. And I understand that for HR teams, Workday offers a lot of power. Makes it really easy for those teams to get the information out. Unfortunately, for the employee, it's garbage. It is so awkward to work with, so horrible to work with, such a horrible end user experience. Awful stuff. It's convoluted. To try to find anything is just, even with the best advisors on how to set this up, it was painfully bad. And every time we bring it up, it's like, yeah, we know it's awful, but this is just, it allows us to do so much more. So it makes sense to use it, but at the same time, it's such an awful experience. And so it's interesting that they're trying to get into AI, maybe to make it easier to find things, because it can't be any worse. So even companies that feel like they don't care about the end users are doing things that make it. A lot of this seems like it's more on the HR side. So the people populating the system. So summarizing job descriptions, messages, contracts, all that type of stuff. I don't know if it's really meant for the end users, but I just found it almost funny that a company that has built software that is just so well known to have a terrible user experience is trying to use tools like AI to make certain things better. But as I'm looking through this, it does look like, expense agent to create and submit expense reports. So that's definitely on the employee side rather than the HR side. So anyway, that was pretty interesting. So we've definitely had a lot of coverage of O1 and I don't want that. Yes. Let's sign in. Unlock. Okay. Okay. So oh my goodness. Stop. Okay, so this is an interesting article by MIT Tech Review. Now, MIT Tech Review is an amazing resource, amazing magazine. In fact, it is. There was a time long ago that people subscribed to magazines, paper magazines that showed up, and my mother still subscribes to what Better Homes and Gardens and like magazines like that. We don't subs. We used to get. I feel like when we were still in Boston, we still subscribed to the paper New York Times, but we switched to digital only. And we get News Plus from Apple, but that's digital only. And in the past, I mean, in Boston, we might have gotten the Boston Globe paper. But all those types of things are pretty much gone. And in fact, the only paper subscription we have today is MIT Tech Review. We get this it comes out every 2 months. So it's kind of weird to subscribe to this thing because by the time you get it, most of the articles are already kind of out of date. Maybe you've already read them because you read the website, but it's an amazing, it's always great to like flip through if you've got some time to flip through because they're always great information in the magazine. But anyway, the reason why I opened this was they have this coverage of OpenAI's O1 model, and it was interesting that it's one of the use cases that maybe it's not super important. Hello, Matt Williams, Cisco 2010 here from last night. Thank you for coming back. Hopefully dinner was good. And looking forward to learning loads. Oh, learning. I don't know if we do much. Do we do learning? I guess we do learning. Yeah, sure. Sometimes I'm dismissive of how much I know. And I probably do know something. So it was interesting that, the author of this article, I'm saying James O'Donnell. He was using ChatGPT 4.0 and he said, create a short wedding themed poem with a constraint that each letter could only appear a certain number of times, so we can make sure teams would be able to reproduce it with the provided set of tiles. Oh, like I guess tiles like a Scrabble tile. Scrabble tiles. So create a poem on a Scrabble board, maybe. And even with those rules, GPT 4.0 failed miserably. It just couldn't. It seemed like it wouldn't add up the number of letters until after it created the poem, and by which time it was too late. And then they ditched the poem idea. Instead, challenged guests to memorize a series of shapes made from colored tiles. This is a very different kind of wedding than anything I've experienced. I don't think even the the woman who officiated our marriage, our wedding. We went to their wedding. It was a little bit later. They met around the same time. We just went back to Boston for her 40th birthday. And he's very, very technology focused, and he's a professor of, I think, teaches. He's definitely in the computer science department. I think he's focused on AI's tools. So he would be, a perfect person to do this kind of thing. But I don't remember any super tech stuff or activities at the wedding. So it's interesting that you know, these folks did this. But he was able to create the poem using the O1 model. And he just couldn't do it with GPT-4o. So, people are, I guess the main thing it's saying is that, we're seeing this new model, even though it's slower, being able to break complicated tasks into simpler steps and be able to go through those steps really well. And it's doing really well at doing that. But of course, it comes at a cost. It'll be cost for developers 3 times as much as they pay for GPT-4o, at $15 per million of tokens with O1 versus $5 for GPT-4o. So that's definitely a big impact. And his use case was, kind of not super important, but recognizes that the value of this stuff won't really be known until researchers, labs, and developers have a chance to just tinker with it, play with it, and see what it can do. So that was an interesting thing. You might have noticed when I pop that up, I've got this little guy up here. Sometimes I highlight things. What else can I do here? Share highlight, summarize that highlight, and hide. I use a tool called Memex. You can see down here. And Memex is just a place where I store, I highlight things that I read and can that'll synchronize back to Obsidian, and it's just a nice way of collecting what I read. Not that I'd really do much with it, but it's an interesting tool. Okay. Let's see what else we got. So I thought this was super interesting. Copilot. Copilot is getting some competition. It was kind of the leader for a long time. Built on, first there was Tab 9, then there was GitHub Copilot, and that since then there have been lots of other tools, and the kind of this world has been, folks have been very excited about Cursor, as well as I've mentioned SuperMaven before on here, and lots of other tools that are in this kind of world. And one of the things that I keep seeing people talk about with Cursor, it's amazing. They get to generate a full application really quickly, but one of the steps they all seem to have to go through is they'll add the documentation to React to Cursor, or they'll add the documentation for some other tool set or some other library to Cursor. And so now there's these Copilot extensions, and I haven't played with this. I don't know for certain, but it looks like is kind of offering that support really easily, because if I wanted to start working with Docker, and 1,000 other people do, everybody has to add that Docker documentation themselves. And what we've seen here is ability to just say, there was an example here, at models, or at Docker, or, I thought I saw a cool picture of an example. Maybe it was when I went to the Copilot extensions page. So when you ask Copilot, you can say at Docker, how do I do this particular thing with Docker? Or at GitHub internal, how do I do this other thing? Or, and so there's all these extensions that you can work with that already have all that documentation and knowledge built in. So a nice way of taking advantage of these RAG systems that have already been built by maybe the company that created, like Docker, So let's take a look at what extensions are available. So Docker Octopus, I don't know what Octopus is. A cloud-hosted Octopus instance. I don't know what Octopus is. Pinecone. So pretty neat things. Is this everything? It's not that exciting. Not as exciting as I thought. Copilot extensions. What is going on here? Models. Interesting. Hello, Engelsman, Finland. Welcome. Thank you for coming back. And then what else did I have that was interesting? Just another, sometimes we spend a lot of time playing around with Ollama or other tools that you run AI models locally on your laptop. And you're like, well, why do people do this? Why do people care about using a smaller, relatively smaller model that can run on our laptops or our computers when there's things like ChatGPT or Claude or any of these other services online? Why is this important? And so it just kind of goes through the reasons why this is important to a lot of people. And first off, it's just as good in a lot of cases as some of those online models. We've definitely seen that the answers that are provided, just looking at the answer, regardless of the amount of time it takes, is sometimes just as good as what you'll get with some of these online models in some cases. Speed can often be faster with the local models than what we get from the online services, but they're dealing with a lot more data. And sometimes it's the other way around. Sometimes I guess it depends on how busy are they today. But then there is the privacy thing. And so just interesting look at why are some people preferring to use local models versus anything online. So just an interesting little article there. One other thing that I was a little confused. Pixtral 12b was announced. Even though Pixtral 12b was announced a week ago, last Wednesday, I think, the 11th, Pixtral 12b was announced via Twitter. So they announced they gave a magnet link or was it magnet link or BitTorrent or something, some link to download the model, but now it's official, I guess. So nothing really new here. I guess now it's officially available. It's still not available in Ollama or Ollama CPP. I believe it's been added to Hugging Face Transformers library, but not here. So I haven't really seen folks do anything interesting with it, just because it's probably harder to get running locally because a lot of the tools don't support it yet. But this is an interesting example. List the top 5 countries in Europe with highest GDP for this image. And it lists out top 5 countries with the highest GDP. I think what we're seeing is, shouldn't the US be in this list? These countries are highlighted in green. Oh, okay. The green is, I got it. No, these are just UK. Oh, in Europe. I can't read. Top 5 countries in Europe with the highest GDP. So it's just looking at these. And so it says Germany, and then UK, yep, and then France, Italy, and Spain. Okay, that makes more sense. Oh, is it? Well, that would be the typical response from most Americans, because most Americans, as we know, are terrible at geography, and they might think that U.S. is in Europe. I don't know. But it took me a few seconds to understand what it was saying. When did things start go wrong for Dark Dragon? Oh, interesting. Yeah, a lot of the vision models that I've played around with, it's always been just about describing what's in the image rather than really, I mean, it would see this image and just say it's a graph that shows, whatever it shows. I don't know if it's, maybe I just haven't tried doing questions like this. When did things go wrong for Dark Dragon, and help try to get it. I don't know. What would they have done? Image to code. I like the little copyright Mistral AI on the image. And it generates an HTML. So write HTML code to create a website like this. That's pretty cool. How to run Pixtral, you can use La Chat or La Platform. And okay, you can use VLLM. Interesting. And that's it. And as far as I know, it is definitely not on Ollama yet. Let's take a look. Just make sure. No. I don't suppose anybody else has added it. Pixtral. I think it would require some work. Nope. Any updates to Ollama? I don't think there are. No new updates to Ollama either. So, all right. I think that's all the interesting news items that I had come across my desk. Any thoughts, any comments that folks have? Might be an easy, simple one. Mistral's been really cooking lately. Yeah. Yep. Any other thoughts, comments, questions about Ollama, questions about stuff in general, questions about life? I made this cup of coffee and then I forgot about it. First problem. I forgot about it, and then I found it again. It was cold. So I put it in the microwave, warmed it up a bit, and then put it down. Kind of forgot about it. It's cool-ish now. I feel like I need one of those Ember mugs, because that is my problem. My problem is that I'll make a cup of coffee. We have this wonderful Breville machine. I can make a lovely Americano. And but then I put it down and I forget about it, and it's cold, and I feel like one of those. I mean, there's the Ember. There's all sorts of other ones. I feel like I need to get one of those devices. I got one before that was just a coaster, that was just a warming coaster, and so it worked with any mug. It was terrible. I felt like it was a fire hazard, because I could easily, well, it just worked on weight. As soon as something was pushed down onto it, it would start warming up. And I mean, I don't know if you can see, can't quite see, but my desk isn't exactly known for being clean. And so a piece of paper could fall on it and some other stuff on there, and it warms up paper, and boom. It's like having a pager and, oh, maybe a little. Oh, do you mind sharing why you stopped working with the Ollama folks? Feel free to tell me. It's none of my business. It's none of your business. well, I mean, I don't want to be mean like that, but um, the Ollama is a business like any other business. It is they have employees, um, and there are 8 or 9 employees now. When I was there, that we were a team of about 7. Companies make decisions to that certain types of employees aren't needed. My role as an evangelist maybe wasn't needed just yet for the company, and so it wasn't my choice to go. Which, it's interesting that I mean I come back to this a lot because here's this company that got rid of me, and yet I am still so interested in the technology that they're building. I think most people would be disgruntled and want to never think about it again. But I guess the types of places I go to work at, I am emotionally invested in those companies, and I don't just work there because I'm getting a paycheck, which paychecks are nice and insurance is nice, but because I'm really interested in seeing that product go well, and I think it's an amazing product. And that's definitely the case with Ollama. I'm amazed. I find the product to be amazing, and I want it to succeed. And so that's why I continue making Ollama content, even though I left the team. And then it is a little bit of a weird relationship. I mean, when Ollama had their kind of 1 year birthday party of the time when the Ollama project really started, although the project really started a little bit before, about 4 weeks before. But I guess the first release was in June or July, and then for that 1 year birthday party, they flew me down to San Francisco to be at that meetup, and it was a limited number of people that could go. So it was amazing that they flew me down, put me up in a hotel right by the. It was held at GitHub's offices, which have pretty cool offices, and a big bar inside, a like permanent bar, and bartenders that actually work for GitHub. I mean, I think they work for GitHub. I mean, it's a really cool place. But they flew me down, put me in a hotel. Was going to fly out the next morning, and then CrowdStrike happened. Was it CrowdStrike? Yeah. And so I had to stay an extra day, which was frustrating. I did not want to be there an extra day. And then when I hit 30,000 subscribers, they sent me, I opened it on Friday, I think, or Thursday on the stream. They sent me a box, opened up the box, and it was a bottle of a whiskey that a company that I really like that I haven't had, and this bottle was the one I hadn't had before. And a $100 bottle of whiskey they sent to me. It's like, congrats for hitting 30,000 subscribers. So that was incredible. So we still have a good relationship. So it's weird. I think when that kind of thing happens, both parties want to like separate, and that hasn't happened. People have asked every now and then, since January, roughly January, when that separation happened, and I've always been, I don't know, I was reluctant to say anything publicly. I think I'm becoming more and more open to talking about it publicly. Would you go back to work for them? I'm at a point now where I don't know if anyone gave me an offer to work to go to work at a company. Right now, I think I'd probably say no to every offer that came in. Not that any offers are coming in, but if anybody made an offer right now, we will pay you this much. We'll give you these benefits. We'll give you, all these things to do what you do. I'm pretty sure I'd say no in almost all cases. I mean, if you pay me a ridiculous amount of money, maybe, but I don't think so. I am my job. My job at when I was at Datadog, I was hired as the first evangelist at Datadog, and my job was to be kind of the public relations slash developer slash marketing. I mean, all the things that an evangelist, or some people like to call it developer advocate or developer relations, or I hate those names. Evangelist sounds a lot more all encompassing. So whenever you have that kind of role, it covers a lot of things. But the main thing for me has always been about video creation. And so I was always creating videos for Datadog. But it was always, here's what Datadog is working on now. Let's build a video that fits in with the marketing calendar or content calendar for Datadog. And anytime I made a video, it would have to go through lots of approval to get it out the door. And sometimes you'd put a lot of work into a video and it just never, even though there were approvals along the way, it would never go see the light of day. And before Datadog, I did a bunch of videos for a company called Profit Bricks. I don't know if Profit Bricks exists anymore. They did kind of a early software-defined networking, and it's part of 1&1, I think is the name, the parent company, that like the biggest domain registrar. And the founder of that company has decided to build this new company called Profit Bricks, new at the time, 10 years ago. German-based. I'm not sure if it still exists. And before that, at OpenText, I made videos there as well, as part of my training role. And I did videos at Yoda. I don't know if they exist anymore. It was web performance optimization tools. And did videos at Playster. I don't know if they still exist. That was real estate, kind of MLS API access across the entire country. And so creating videos was always part of the job, but there were always other people that were involved with the approvals. And so it was always, I could never do exactly the things I wanted to do. Even at Ollama, there were other things I needed to do. And so I didn't get to do as much of it as I wanted to. Now, since January, I don't work for anyone. I don't have a job. I mean, my job is YouTube, making videos, doing streams. Does it pay well? No, it pays terribly. I get like last month, $450 for the entire month. I mean, you can make that working, making French fries at McDonald's for 4 days, and you're way past that number. I think something. I mean, it's ridiculously bad revenue until somebody starts to until I get some sponsorships, and that'll come pretty soon. But it's fun. This is what I've always wanted to do for a long time, and now I'm kind of living the dream. And the goal, my wife and I talked about it, the goal is that if I can do within 2, maybe 3 years, she wants to say 2 years. I'm kind of saying, well, let's say 3 years. But anyway, within some amount of time, so we're 9 months into this 2-year experiment, 3-year experiment, I want to be able to generate a realistic income. And so that's the goal. And so I'm just going for it. I'm building video, making all the videos I want to build that I find most interesting. There's some videos I haven't been able to make because they don't fit with the local AI kind of theme. But yeah, that's so if Ollama came and offered me the chance to do what I do, but be paid by them, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, not Ollama and Datadog and OpenText were all great places to work, and I love them. And if anybody had a job offer from a company like Ollama or Datadog, I would say absolutely go for it. Go for it. It's amazing. Um, so yeah, that's the reason I was asking, because your knowledge sharing. I am now an Ollama fan boy. Yeah, I love it. I love it. I'm so looking forward to Ollama in 4 years' time, and what's been created to work in parallel. Yep. Your videos are amazing. I'm sure you'll do well. From Khaled. Thank you, Khaled. And I second that from Lewis Yax. Yeah. Well, thank you. I love doing these things. I'm hopeful that we're going to get some. There's a two or three companies that we're talking about doing sponsorships, and they fit exactly in line with what I do. I don't want to do, regarding sponsorships, I don't want to do just ad reads, a 30-second ad read that, I mean, it's not, those are nice in that they're very skippable and they're very finite period of time, but they're kind of boring. Boring for me. My goal is I want this to stay fun for a long time, and I want to create great videos. But I'd much rather incorporate the content. I guess it's a little hard because I don't want folks to think that I'm only covering a topic because the company is giving me money. And it's very easy to think that. I did a video about brev.dev. They got acquired by NVIDIA recently. I did not get paid for that. I took no money for that. But many people thought that I was getting paid by Brev. So people will always assume, if you're talking very positively about a company, and it goes on for an entire video, obviously you must be paid for that. No, I'm not. I wasn't paid by Brev. Now, if Brev wants to do a sponsorship, I'm open to that. I'll have to be careful about how I talk about it, though. And I'm not really sure how to do that yet. But the sponsorships that look like they might happen, I hope happen, they're going to be that kind of thing where it's basically the whole video or a large part of the video, and maybe I'm explaining some other concept, but I'm using them as kind of the backbone. It'll be just a challenge to make sure people know that I am using that tool as a way to explain the overall concept, and I was already using them before they paid me money. So a couple of tools that are in talks with, they are tools that I've used for years. So, all right, man. Not many people were here when I was talking about news, and then as soon as I got into like deep topics, people are showing up. Nice. Let's see. And regarding the, I do need to. I want to bring in money because for the show or for YouTube, because then I can justify doing more interesting things or other things on the channel that I just can't do, because I'm just relying on the equipment I have. No, I have fancy equipment because I've been doing this a long time. I've got lights, I've got microphones, like fancy microphones, I've got fancy teleprompters, I've got fancy everything, because I've been doing this as part of my job for, well, my first YouTube channel got created 17, 18 years ago, and that was for when I was a trainer at OpenText. So I've been doing this a long time. So I got all this fancy stuff. But it would be nice to be able to bring in something more so I can do, like, I would love to be able to have some PCs, like regular PC box, buy the case, buy the motherboard, buy the GPUs, and start doing GPU like tests on with common GPUs. I'd love to be able to do that. Can't do it. I mean, I could just go out and buy the things, but I need to be kind of sustainable before I do that. You're the only AI related content creator that I watch. It is fun to watch. Yeah. As for ads, I like how Network Chuck way of ads. He will give you some amazing topic to watch and want to learn from. But in the middle of the vid, he explained how to utilize the ad to do it. After finishing the ad, he explained how to do it without the ad. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, okay. I need to. I mean, I watch a lot of stuff from Network Chuck. He's great, amazing. Him. Probably the three main people that I watch for like technical content. It's gonna be Network Chuck. Obviously, I need to come up with a. Am I AI Matt? No, I'm Model Matt, Llama Matt, Ollama Matt. I don't know. Anyway, there's Network Chuck. There's Techno Tim. He's got not just the two words and technology related Techno Tim, but the alliteration as well, like ta. So Network Chuck, Techno Tim, and then Christian something with an L. German guy, I think he's German, who was pushing a lot of Tailscale for a long time. Can't remember. Was it M? Oh, now we gotta look. Hold on. YouTube? I thought it was an L. Christian? No, not Christian music. No. What were some of the topics? Oh, one of the topics was doing SSL certs. Christian Lempa. So this guy, Christian Lempa. So him, we don't need to watch him. So I watch a lot of his stuff, and Techno Tim. Yeah, well, it figured out what I wanted. And then, of course, my channel. What else do I have in subscriptions? Do I just look at who my subscriptions are? Okay, here we go. Show more. So you can see who I subscribe to. Philip DeFranco, amazing. Colin Samir. Raid Owl is another great one that I will watch a lot of his videos. Johnny Harris, because, Johnny Harris is amazing. But a lot of Final Cut stuff. I can dream about Exopar boats, even though I'm not going to buy an Exopar boat, but they're really cool. MKBHD, Wes Roth, Jeff Stu for some Google Docs stuff, YouTube-y type stuff. Alex Ziskin is pretty cool, also on the tech side. Fireship, oh my god, those videos are incredible. How can he speak so? And you look at some of his older videos, it's the same voice. It's just not very interesting. What else is in here? Aaron Parecki does great stuff with streaming. Jack Harrington, great TypeScript developer. Mark Bone, cinematography. Wes Boss, programming. Ben Valek, keyboard stuff. Linus Tech Tips, because Linus Tech Tips. What else is in here? Microphone Assassin for microphone reviews. Yeah, there's a few things in here. Looks like they all have new content that I haven't looked at. super safe. So anyway, those are the things I watch. All right. Who is Matai? M-A-T-T-A. Oh, Matt. Matt. Got it. I was thinking that was somebody's last name. Matai. I don't know. Sounds a little too German. Matai. There apparently is a channel called, it's only one video. Anthony Matai. I don't know who that is. Some music group. If you have an amazing stream, keep it up. I'm going to head out. What? You're going to leave me? That's okay. I'm going to stop now. We've been on for about an hour. I did my news thing. I finished about 30 minutes ago, and then I've been like, nothing much. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for being active in the chat. It's been so much fun. I love doing these things. If you ever have any questions about Ollama, about local AI, ask them in the chat next time. Anything else I should say? I've got a video coming out today. There was a video I should have put out last Thursday and I didn't put it out. But I'll put out a video today that'll go into the course. So that's the Ollama course, kind of all the basics as well as some of the more advanced topics. So that'll come out. I got to start working on. I've got to figure out what I'm going to do, and make the video, and put it out for today. The next stream tomorrow at 10:30. I'm going to do it 10:30. In fact, I'll create it as soon as we finish here, and then there's also another stream. I do my daily-ish, sort of, stream, just myself, and then I do a weekly-ish podcast. Or sorry, not podcast. Maybe it should be a podcast, but a weekly-ish stream with my good friend Ryan McLean, who's up in, I'm in Seattle. He's up in BC in Vancouver. But we both used to work at Datadog. He still does work at Datadog, so we'll talk about stuff today. That's always at 2:30 U.S. Pacific time. Yeah, and that's it. That's what's happening. So tomorrow, I'll see you tomorrow at 10:30. Oh, I'm gonna see you today at 2:30 when we do our weekly stream. I gotta schedule that. I don't know if I scheduled it. I'll schedule it now. All right, thanks so much for being here. Had a great time. Bye. I gotta come up with a good phrase. Who is it? Philip DeFranco has like this his phrase that he's used for 15 years of daily-ish streams. He has that good phrase. I don't know. I gotta come up with that. Matai. It's a goofy name. Okay, thanks so much for being here. Bye-bye. End.